great pleasure it is to welcome to What's Next, Devina Maharaj, who's the Program Head of Investec Business Online and API. It's quite a title, and it's a very modern day title. I'm looking so forward to chatting to you this morning, Devina, because ultimately it's all about modernization, it's about big data, it's about understanding customers, and I really want to unpack what we're going to be talking about today, and that's programmable banking. Now, when you look at some of the biggest pain points that Investec, for example, and as observed in the private banking industry, that really drove it to launch programmable banking. What would you say those pain points were?
Aki, firstly, thanks for having me. I think some of the major pain points that drove us to kind of investigate programmable banking and really get creative around this proposition for our clients was twofold. Pre-COVID, I think we were already seeing the initial trends around clients wanting a far greater ability for personalization on their banking. And we started seeing, I think, the trends around embedded finance and moving finance and banking into clients' lives rather than forcing them to come to the bank. I think post-COVID, we're seeing that trend strengthen even further, where remote work and kind of balancing life and work being top of mind for clients now, especially in the private banking space, is really what drove us to kind of look at programmable banking. I think secondly, I think there was a real inspiration, I think, within Investec around how do we contribute to the South African economy. And one of the ways that we looked at doing that was actually looking at the developer community and the disruption that's happening industry-wide that is requiring developers as a skill set to be kind of very much at the forefront of business strategy going forward. You would know that Investec traditionally has banked professionals within the private bank space, so your traditional doctors, lawyers, CAs. And what we've seen is that there's a shift in the labor market as it stands over the last couple of years, where software developers and IT professionals have become instrumental in driving change, both at an industry level as well as a country level in terms of driving the economy. So I think programmable banking for us really stemmed from the need for our clients to drive personalization and be able to create their own banking experience. And secondly, very much around how do we empower the creators of the future, software developers, to help us actually do that.
Wow. I absolutely love that. As you're talking, I'm just thinking like up to now, and it's understandable, banking this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to transact. Now I can actually customize that entire experience for myself. And I love what you're talking about. I mean, could you describe in a nutshell, and I'm trying to get my head around this, what programmable banking is and how exactly does it actually work? And you're saying you're putting a lot of power in the hands of your customers, but how is that going to work?
So, Aki, we're taking it one step at a time. And I think first and foremost, what we've done is we've developed the ability for a software developer client of Investec or a business client who has access to a developer team to actually be able to go on to Investec online to do their business or their individual banking transactions and be able to create rules using code that allows you to create rules on your transactional banking account. So very practically, I'm a mom. I'm trying to manage a household with 2 kids. And it really will help me to be able to create rules on my card that I can maybe give to a helper or my mom or something like that, where they are able to kind of have limits on their card. If I'm giving it to a helper, maybe I want to lock the card down to say this card can only work at Woolies, it can only work at the school. So there's various different rules that I think every single client has from their own individual needs and perspective. I think from a business lens, what we're finding is that businesses have a myriad of challenges as a business. And for us as Investec to assume that we truly understand every business and can come up with a product for them is a little bit arrogant. So I think where the approach we're taking as a bank is how do we put tools in the hands of developers, either dev teams in businesses or
Yes.
developer clients, so that they can help us build out these things. So programmable banking essentially has two parts to it. One, the ability for you to create rules on your card account so that you can say this card should work at specific merchants, it can work at specific times of the day, etc.
Wow.
Or what you can do is you can connect to Investec's open API and get real-time data delivered directly either into your spreadsheet as a client or directly into your business system as a business client. So the two paths to
Gee.
transactional banking and programmable banking is the open API from Investec, as well as the ability for you to create rules on your card account.
That is absolutely brilliant. I'm just thinking about all the uses, right? I mean, the fact that you can create rules, you mentioned a helper, for example. I imagine you can do the same with your kids, with their pocket money
100%.
and
Yes.
where they spend their money, etc., etc. I think that's a really very powerful. I mean, what are some of those major benefits of a customizable private banking solution? I'm just thinking out loud. There's just so many that are coming towards me. And firstly, I mean, just the control of my finances is probably the biggest one.
So, Aki, you spot on. I think control of your finances, both for business and individual, is where we aiming. But more than that, I think the idea here is that every time we get an IT professional joining Investec as a client, they get enrolled in our Investec developer community. And over the last 18 months, we've been in beta with over 500 developers across the country who have joined us as
Wow.
clients and have come on and come with the most unique use cases that are very individualistic to themselves or their businesses. And I think what it's taught us being in this beta phase is that really the possibilities are endless in terms of what programmable banking could mean for software developers and businesses as our first stage of clients. But more exciting is what's to come, is how do we take the skill set of software developers who are now our clients and let them help us co-create what could be programmable banking for everyone. And I think that is where it's truly exciting for us around how do we scale the power of putting technology into the hands of clients who cannot code. I think what we're finding is that for software developers in this country, what gives them the greatest level of inspiration is that they can build something that millions of clients are going to be able to
Yes.
use. So that at an individual level is, I think, something that truly excites me. And at a business level, I think what we're finding is that a number of companies, and we are live with quite a number of big businesses in South Africa right now testing with us around programmable banking for business. And what we found is that developer teams at these businesses are able to take programmable banking, the card rules functionality, as well as a real-time API, and create the most fascinating business solutions that give businesses operational efficiencies that were never available to them through normal banking before. And I think that for me is where the excitement and the possibilities become quite endless.
Yeah.
The idea
I
here
mean,
is
listen, Davina. Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
no. I just wanted to say that the idea around this is rather than the principle about rather than giving our clients fish, how do we teach them how to fish? And I think that's the idea is
Yes.
put tools in the hands of our clients rather than giving them a solution that we assume is the right one for them.
No, I mean, this is just what you're saying is so exciting. You're using that functionality that you're adding for your clients, coupled together with the data and analytics. And I imagine there's lots of artificial intelligence working in the background. And it's almost like you're adding a nervous system to your banking, right? You're actually creating these rules, and it's becoming alive, and it's kind of syncing with you as the customer and how you bank. And I think that the possibilities are endless and the applications are endless. So certainly I share that excitement with you. I was interested to know that you worked with OfferZen to build this particular solution. I mean, what made OfferZen the right partner for this?
So, Aki, I think we had an aspiration as Investec Private Bank to really help software developers in this country, because we believe that the future of every industry lies in empowering the makers and creators that are building the solutions. We also want to recognize them as an exceptionally valuable profession of the future. As part of building out a real private banking wealth creation segment for IT professionals, we recognize that we are not the expert in that field. We are an expert at banking, but what we needed to do was partner with somebody who really knew the segment. Investec has been, from the very beginning, all about understanding professions and being able to go deep and understand their expertise so that we provide a customized value proposition for them. So to not have a partner that truly understands the segment would have been a real fail for us as a bank. We
Yeah, yeah.
identified OfferZen as one of the leading platforms for software developers in the country, with over 100,000 developers as part of their platform. And I think, Aki, the number one reason we partnered with them is very simple. They were mission aligned in looking and really tapping into the value of developers in South Africa. They believe, like us, that investing in the segment is truly important when it comes to developing out South Africa as an economy and leading, I think, on the world stage. And I think that, from a purpose and meaning perspective, was what drew us to them, and is what I think will strengthen our partnership year on year with OfferZen. I think
And
yeah.
no, I was saying, and I guess as well is, Davina, is that you're thinking about the next things that you're going to be doing. So you're going to have a partner that's got the same vision as you have.
100%. And I think, at a task level, OfferZen, with all of their data in terms of what developers are doing, what is their employability in terms of skill set, and understanding the different levels of skill sets within developers is something that's very important to us. The other point to consider is that Investec has traditionally banked professionals with degrees. And what we're finding in the software engineering and the IT professional space is that degrees are not always commensurate with value of you as an individual. So some of the best software engineers in this country are guys that don't necessarily have a degree. They could potentially have matric, but are either self-taught or are in non-traditional schools in terms of teaching. And I think it's really important for us as a private bank to recognize the shift in terms of skill set and value creation, and what that means around professional private banking. So I think OfferZen, in a big way, has helped us understand the segment, and break the mold a bit in terms of what our traditional profession has been defined at Investec previously.
Interesting. So, I mean, how do you believe programmable banking will revolutionize both South African businesses in the banking market, and how businesses and individuals operate and transact in this digital economy? Because it is changing rapidly and you're adapting with the times. So, how do you think that programmable banking is going to revolutionize all these aspects?
So, Aki, I think we started off with programmable banking as something, as a way for our clients to really kickstart personalization from an Investec perspective. But the long-term vision is that programmable banking essentially will not exist in the future. Where we'll get to is that true embedded finance becomes a reality, and that you as a client, whether you're in the business or you as an individual, won't necessarily need to log into your bank to do banking. banking will live within your lifestyle, and it will live in the
Wow.
places that you want it to be. And I think that is going to be super creative in the way we do business. So for us at Investec, it's very much about saying, if you are a business client with Investec, how do we make sure that banking lives in your systems, in your environment, so that we're not forcing you into banking channels that might not necessarily be convenient for you or be the most efficient for you? And if you are an individual client, you shouldn't necessarily have to go onto your mobile app or come into a banking system. How does banking live in your everyday world? And I think that is going to be where programmable banking is going to take us into a very exciting future.
Sure. I was just thinking about this, and it's like it's actually blowing my mind. It's almost like it's going to be part of your DNA, right?
Exactly.
As a customer, it will be part of my DNA, and all of this stuff in the background will be happening, and I'm not going to have to worry about too many things. I mean, it's pretty exciting. And looking at to the future, for example, we've touched on it just a second now, but this is a great platform that Investec has built. And this particular solution, where do you take this from here, and how do you make banking more customizable? And I guess it's a fantastic start, but what does the future hold for what you have created right now?
So, Aki, I would love to tell you that we have a defined roadmap. The beauty, I think, of what we've done over the last 2 years is very deliberately not have a defined roadmap for where we wanted to go with this. We have ideas and we have hypotheses of what our clients want. But the idea is to test this with our clients, to have the IT community in the country join us in making open banking a true reality in South Africa, and really working with us to create what the future of programmable banking and actually just banking in itself will look like in the future. For me, that is what programmable banking is about. It's about not saying that we know what the next 2 years are going to look like, but it's about saying, join us and help us create what this banking space is going to look like, not only for private banking, but I think banking as a whole in South Africa.
Wow. As you're saying this, I'm thinking about this is actually a great example of open innovation, right? You're not creating something for your customers, but instead you're working together with your customers and you're listening to your customers, and your customers have an input in the innovation that you're progressing with at Investec. And that's a very, very exciting approach to take to banking and into the future.
Thanks, Aki. And I think I'm looking forward to what the future holds, and how we actually scale programmable banking so that technology is truly democratized. And I think that for me is super important. How do we make sure that my 12-year-old is able to leverage programmable banking on her youth account, for instance, at Investec? Or how do we make sure
Yeah.
that, your son or your daughter or your finance admin person in a business is able to leverage this, that often is limited to programmers? And I think that for
Yes.
me is where it's truly exciting. And to have software developers across hundreds of businesses across South Africa help us do this is, I think, truly exciting for me.
What an exceptional journey! Exciting stuff. I'm going to look forward to keeping tabs of this particular journey. Davina Maharaj is the program head of Investec Business Online and API, talking to us today about programmable banking. Davina, thank you for your time, and wishing you a great day further.
Thanks so much, Aki. Thanks for having me.